Hi guys, Darthus here with another video, and today finally we're going to be taking a look at my top 10 overall action figures for 2020. I've done a top 10 for Black Series specifically, Marvel Legends specifically, and McFarlane Toys specifically. So if you want to check out any of those videos, I may put those links into the description if I'm so inclined to do so. I probably will. I'd maybe recommend watching those before you watch this video, because you may see some of the stuff that's on those in this list repeated. But anyways, yeah, so in front of you is not the top 10. You're seeing a bunch of Hot Toys in front of you, because these are all special mentions for this year now. What I mean by that, this is my list, this is my personal picks for top 10, and also my personal rules. So figures have to be released in 2020, or at least it's intended more than likely to be a 2020 release. I have to have gotten them in 2020, and I'm not including Hot Toys or high-end 6 scale on this list, because if I did so, the whole list would basically be filled with Hot Toys, Sideshow, etc. And I don't think it's super fair to compare Hot Toys with something like Black Series or Marvel Legends figure. They're both awesome in their own way, but obviously the Hot Toys are going to be way better because they're more expensive and a lot more effort, I guess, put into them. Probably know what I mean, but I wanted to give a special mention to all the Hot Toys that I picked up this year. I started collecting Hot Toys this year, bought probably way too many of them. This isn't even all the ones I bought this year. These are just all the ones that came out in 2020 that I bought this year. But just giving you a really quick, got the Infinity War Star-Lord there, the Solo Han Solo, the awesome Commander Cody, the equally amazing Mandalorian, the Solo Darth Maul, which I also really like, and then the first Hot Toys I bought this year, the die-cast Punisher and the War Machine armor, which is also really amazing. And yeah, these Hot Toys just get a special mention, a special place on my top 10. That's not in the actual top 10. The special place to say these were awesome Hot Toys figures that I got this year that deserve to be recognized as being amazing. But I don't want to take up too much more time talking about this. If I was to pick a favorite among these, it's really difficult. It comes down to probably Cody and Mando. I really can't choose between the two. I love them both pretty equally. Mando looks amazing. And I just absolutely love the character. And Commander Cody, again, really like the character. Comes with a bunch of accessories, and I love that Temuera Morrison sculpt. I don't know. Hard to pick. It's out of those two. Either Mando or Cody. If I was to pick an overall figure of the year, probably one of those two would be my overall favorite figure of the year. Anyways, let's now move on to the next portion. All right, and before we get into the actual top 10, I have just a small array of honorable mentions. And not just specifically these figures, but there is just so much good stuff that came out this year. I couldn't possibly put all of my figures I really like this year out in front to show you. There's just so much stuff. You can basically consider every top 10 I did before this for 2020 for the McFarlane Toys, Black Series, and Marvel Legends. Consider all the figures on those lists honorable mentions for my overall top 10 of the year. Because there's just so much good stuff. It was really hard to make this list this year. I'll be completely honest, really hard to make this list this year. There's so much good stuff, but just some random stuff just to talk about real quick. Studio Series had some great releases. This Shockwave was on my list halfway through the year. He's not making the cut now, unfortunately, but it's still an amazing figure. I'm super happy to get a much more accurate looking film Shockwave. Recent figure I got, the Earthrise Soundwave. A lot of Earthrise and Siege. I've been really liking those lines so far. And the Earthrise Soundwave is really good, in my opinion. Storm Collectibles, I got into Storm Collectibles a little bit this year. I'm not going to go all in on the line or anything, but I did pick up most of their Injustice figures they've released so far. And Lobo was really close to making the list. He's a really good figure that actually surprised me because I don't have a huge attachment to the character. But I really like him a lot. Diamond Select gave us a Iron Giant figure, which, I'm a big fan of the animated movie, like a lot of people are. And it's really cool to finally have a Iron Giant figure that's affordable to have in the collection, and it's a really good one for the price. Really good. That almost made it. McFarlane Toys, Merciless Bath. Just really love that figure. Just wanted to put this on here, showcase it again, because I really do like it a lot. The Jazzler / Wicked Cool Toys Master Chief, not quite good enough to get on to the list. It has some issues, but I really like it, and I'm really happy we're getting new Halo figures that have the potential to be really, really good, and this one's still decently solid. Pretty good articulation. I love the back chrome for the visor. It gives it kind of that Joyride feel. Decent accessories, interchangeable hands. Pretty cool. Mezco Moon Knight. Great figure. A couple other Mezcos I picked up this year. Green Lantern, Cable. All were pretty good, but just didn't quite make the list due to some certain things. Moon Knight might have made the list if he had a wired cape. But as is, still really cool. Excuse me. McFarlane Toys, DC Multiverse, all that stuff. I've covered this already on my top 10 McFarlane Toys figures. If you want to know my full thoughts on all that stuff, go watch that video. Oops, Mando fell. But yeah, I love a lot of stuff McFarlane Toys I'm putting up this year. I'm excited to see what they do this year in 2021. So yeah, that's a lot of solid figures. A couple of my favorites, Azrael and the Thomas Wayne Batman are awesome. And then at the very front, we got some vintage collection figures because we actually had some really solid vintage collection releases. I still think we need more exposure for that line or some more releases for that line. But we got some really great figures. We got that new Luke, which is mainly a reuse from a previous vintage collection body, but with some new stuff that I thought I wasn't even going to get that figure, but I ended up buying it off of the Mandalorian hype, and I actually really like this figure a lot. That's like maybe probably one of the best 3 3/4 inch soft goods robes I've ever seen. It actually looks good, and the face printing and everything looks great as well. We've got the Mando here. I haven't got my hands on the Beskar one yet, but the OG Mando, pain in the ass to get, but he is also a really nice vintage collection figure. I like him a lot. I'd actually like him more than the 6-inch one. And then Moff Gideon, I was surprised to find just before the year's end. And then he was really close to making the list as another excellent figure. The face printing looks phenomenal on it. Great accessories, articulation looks great. Yeah, really solid. But you'll see why they didn't make the list. And I'll stop rambling on. We will get on to the actual list now. All right, so we're starting off the list. And another thing I'll mention when I was making this list is I tried to keep only one figure per line. There is a little bit of a deviance to that. But like, for example, for my Marvel Legends, Star Wars, Black Series, there's only one of each on the list. You can probably guess which ones those are because, spoiler, they're my number ones for each of those individual lists. But number one, case in point, or not number one, sorry, geez, number 10, we have the Marvel Legends Deluxe War Machine. And yeah, I talked about this already in my top 10 Marvel Legends, but it's just an amazing figure. War Machine's one of my favorite Marvel characters. I love the design of this, the classic War Machine armor. The articulation is really good. It reuses the 80th Iron Man parts really well with the new parts. He has the shoulder cannon, he's got the wrist gun, he's got the unhelmeted classic roadie, he's got all these effect parts that you can use for him. Really good value for money figure and a really awesome figure. And he beat out the Revoltech War Machine, which I didn't actually show my honorable mentions, which I meant to do. But I thought the Revoltech War Machine was going to make this list, but I actually do like the Marvel Legends better. I just think it's a funner figure to mess with and play around with, and with those effect parts, that just cinched it for me. Next up is our Transformers representation on the list at number 9. It is, of course, the Earthrise Optimus Prime. It's probably my favorite Transformer that came out this year. That was a Hashtag release. Yeah, this is I would say, probably the best, chug, scale Optimus Prime you can get. It's like a miniaturized masterpiece. It's very good. I think the robot mode looks amazing. I think the vehicle mode looks amazing. The transformation's interesting, but not overly complicated and fun. And there's not a lot of kibble going on. His arms are a lot cleaner than like on the Siege one. Really, the only kibble is this little back piece on here that if you really wanted to, it can just clip off. He's got decent accessories with the gun, and you can open up the chest, and he's got the removable matrix. I did replace the head on mine. This one's actually the Siege head because the Siege head was painted better. The Earthrise one, they didn't paint the silver on the eyes, which is really weird. Articulation's really good. He comes with a trailer. Yeah, I just really like, and obviously, and Optimus Prime is my favorite Transformer character. So yeah, this one's really awesome. Number 9. Number 8 may come to a surprise to some people. I have the G.I. Joe Classified Snake Eyes. I think this is a lot of people's favorite figure this year. I like G.I. Joe, don't get me wrong. I like it. I've watched a little bit of the stuff and whatnot. But I never watched the original series. I never grew up with the original series, and I don't have a huge emotional attachment to G.I. Joe. I just think they're cool looking characters, cool looking figures. And Snake Eyes is definitely that. He's a half commando, half ninja. He's really cool. And I will say this is probably one of Hasbro's objectively best 6-inch figures they've ever done. And it is really good, either if you get the exclusive or the standard release. I think it looks great. The paint apps, where they're there, they're really good. He has a bunch of accessories, decent amount of weapon storage, great articulation. I got lucky and my copy's not super floppy or anything. I know I've heard some people get really floppy copies. It's a really great figure. And just at the end of the day, because I don't have a super huge attachment, I found myself after a while, after I initially messed with it, I kind of threw it on the shelf and only took it off the shelf to mess with it on occasion. Not as much as I thought I would, which is why it's higher on the list. And at number 7, we have another classified. This is the only line that has 2 entries, or more than 1 entry on this list. I like Cobra Commander better than Snake Eyes. And I definitely, Cobra Commander is not as good a figure as Snake Eyes, but Cobra Commander is my favorite character from G.I. Joe. And I absolutely love this modernized sort of take on Cobra Commander. I know a lot of people think it maybe is too busy looking, but I actually like the regalia he has. Not Snake Eyes, geez. Cobra Commander, you know, he's a big egomaniac, megalomaniac, and sees himself as the best in the world. So I would imagine him to dress himself up in all this regal sort of stuff. And I think the figure's awesome. I love the helmet's sculpt, the silver paint there looks great. All the little paint apps look awesome. It's got a cool accessory with the sword and the little snake flintlock looking gun and the hand options with the pointing hand and whatnot. It's really cool. I got mine posed with a little Megatron, which I absolutely love this. I just think this looks absolutely awesome on the display. Had a lot of fun taking a picture of this guy and posing him around. I think it's just a really awesome figure, and I really love it, honestly. And at number 6, I believe number 6, we've got the McFarlane Toys Mortal Kombat 11 Spawn. This is the Sword Edition, but this could count for any version. Doesn't really matter. This is an absolutely awesome figure. I think it's McFarlane's best figure this year. I was hoping to get the Kickstarter Spawn this year. I did, or not this year, but in 2020, I did back that, and it was originally slated to come out in 2020, but I think only very, very few people got it in 2020. So most people are gonna get it in 2021. So maybe it'll show up on a list in 2021 at some point. But since it's the only one I got for 2020, this is the one that's here, and it's really good. It's a more modern look, but he's got great articulation. He looks amazing with the sculpt, and all the paint apps going on is great. The sword accessory or whichever accessory you got with your release is really good. Yeah, it's an absolutely excellent figure. I'm not a huge Spawn fan by any means, not a super fan. I do like the character. I have read some of the comics and whatnot. But it is just an absolutely amazing and fun figure. I had a lot of fun posing and taking pictures of this guy. And at number 5, we have the Black Series Cad Bane. This is the standard release, but either release you got, I think, warrants the spot on the list. Just a matter of having Toto or not, which I don't really care about. Yeah, I think one of Hasbro's best Black Series releases, personally. A character I never thought we'd get in the Black Series, if I'm being completely honest. But they did a really good job. Excellent paint apps, great sculpting, love the head sculpt. I also love how I have him here. You can actually get him looking like he's tipping his hat or holding his hat with the trigger fingers he has. He's got his blasters, you can store in the holsters. And if you couldn't already guess, if you haven't watched my top 10 Black Series figures for 2020, yeah, this guy's number 1. But yeah, absolutely solid. Love this character and love this figure. And he doesn't want to stand. And at number 4, we've got my favorite Storm Collectibles release for this year, and it is the Injustice 2 Darkseid. Darkseid's one of my favorite characters to play in the game. I really like the Injustice 2 design. I know some people don't, but I really like it. I've been wanting a good Darkseid in the collection for a long time. He's one of my favorite supervillains from DC. Like, he's just like one of the biggest bads. And I think Storm Collectibles really nailed this one. Great articulation, excellent sculpt and paint. He feels really fun and good to pose around, really durable and solid. He's really big. He towers over most figures. Comes with a bunch of accessories, alternate hands, I think 4 head sculpts and 2 Omega Beam effects, either the smoking ones or the actual firing effects, which look really good. Just an absolutely solid figure. I absolutely love how you can just get him looking like this, just looking like he's thinking he's so superior over everyone. I just absolutely love the presence he has on the shelf. And at number 3, we have actual Star Wars, the 3 3/4 inch, that actually made the list this year, which is awesome. The years have been scarce with these figures, so it's really good to actually have these, Hasbro release some stuff that I've really liked a lot. And it is the PulseCon exclusive 501st ARC Troopers pack. A lot of value, personal value of these figures to me. I love all these characters. The 501st is my favorite Legion. I really like ARC Troopers. I pretty much never am able to get my hands on con exclusives, so to be able to get this one that I really wanted was a really awesome experience for me personally. And the figures themselves are really great. Now there are 3, I'm cheating a little bit, but they're all basically the same figure with different paint apps. I think Echo might have different sculpted pauldron. But yeah, they're awesome. Removable helmets, great articulation, awesome face print and head sculpts, a bunch of accessories. They all come with a bunch of guns. You can store the DC carbine on the backpack, which is awesome. Holster the pistols. The pistol holster it's a little loose, but that's okay. My only biggest issue with this set is just that the helmet printing or helmet painting or whatever, depends on your copies, but they kind of miss the mark of the actual sculpt on the helmets. My Echo and my Jesse aren't too bad, but my 5s is noticeably shifted down from the sculpt, which has been unfortunate. But overall, super amazing set that I'm super happy to have and very grateful I was able to get. And number 2, we have the SH Figuarts Beskar Mandalorian. I know a lot of people have a decent amount of issues with this figure. I definitely have my issues with it as well, but even regardless of the issues, I think the pros outweigh the cons with this guy. I think he's amazing. And I don't buy a lot of SH Figuarts. I only have 2 other ones. I'm a very picky when it comes to SH Figuarts. I only get them if I think they're the better version over like the Black Series or whatever. And in this case, I definitely think so. I never got the Black Series Beskar one because of this guy basically, and also because the Beskar Black Series one's a pain in the ass to find. But yeah, aside from some small issues like the head should probably sit on the neck a little higher and the rifle is way too over-engineered to attach to his back. Aside from that, it's a great release. The paint apps for the silver Beskar look amazing. Articulation's really good. It comes with a ton of accessories. I love all the little effect parts. Like he's got the whispering birds. I think that's what they're called. I can't remember off the top of my head. The whispering birds or whatever. Little missiles coming out of the wrist gauntlet there. You have flamethrower effects. His knife, his rifle, his blaster, the light electric effect off the rifle, jetpack with thruster effects. So much awesome stuff going on with this figure that I had to put it at very high on my list for honestly one of my favorite Star Wars characters at this point. And choosing number 1 was really hard, and it's crazy because this figure, I got this figure in January, and it is my number 1 figure of the year still. It is the Mezco 112 Collective Magneto. Magneto is my favorite Marvel character. I'm really happy Mezco decided to make a 112 figure of him, and I think they knocked it out of the park for the most part. The soft goods is really good. It works really well. Doesn't hinder his posing. Looks great. It synergizes with the plastic bits of his costume really well. I love the modernization of his classic costume. I think the Mezco-ified look looks really good. It comes with 2 awesome looking head sculpts. It comes with a decent amount of accessories, and I love the wired cape. The wired cape makes it so much funner to pose him and get him in dynamic posing. I absolutely love that. Really, my only real complaint is I think he could have came with a few more accessories, but that's about it. So yeah, this is my top 10 figures for 2020. I think like everyone can agree, 2020 was a shitty year, but it was a silver lining. Still a really good year for figures and toys. A lot of great stuff came out. Very happy this stuff came out. Can't wait to see what else comes out for this new year of 2021. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys for watching. Always appreciate it. Let me know what your favorite figures of 2020 were in the comments down below. If you like the video, give her a like, comment, subscribe if you like the content, and I'll see you all in the next one.